Welcome to Out of Home Insider. Today's guest is Binkley. Casey is the founder of Movia, the only mobile billboard media company with unique GPS tracking and impression analytics technology. A serial entrepreneur, Casey is also the co-founder of fastbrewing.com, one of the largest companies in the world that supplies home brewers and winemakers alike the essentials of their craft. Casey's a proponent of making it easy and keeping it simple, all with the goal of maximum effectiveness. Without further ado, Casey, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Tim. Great to be here and awesome to meet everyone.
It's great to have you. And we got introduced to you a couple months back under the banner of a different name and now Movia. Talk to me about the rebrand. Talk to me about what you guys do and what makes you unique as a company. How'd you get into all this?
100%, you bet. So yeah, we just went through a rebrand that we're super excited about. We've been operating as Holler Ads for the past 4 to 5 years, which has been a good transition into the industry. But we're just trying to kind of grow up a little bit and more so like make the technology more of the focus of what we do. Holler was certainly cool, but it kind of drags us into the trucking realm. And don't get me wrong, we certainly operate in the trucking realm, but just kind of opening it up and making the tech more of the kind of focal point. So I've learned a lot about marketing and advertising myself getting into this. Like Tim had mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur. So I was not from the media space before I got into this. My last company was Fast Brewing and Winemaking. We manufactured plastic homebrew equipment. We manufactured in Michigan and China, and we sold the products in roughly around like 1,400 retail stores across like 45 countries. We built that company with a partner out of university, and Tim was just laughing because I've been starting to use this new name a little bit more, but I go by Red Dragon a little bit.
It's his call sign, ladies and gentlemen. Red Dragon, Red Dragon.
It started in the homebrew industry. We showed up for this huge trade show. It was like our very first one. It's me and my partner. I'm probably like 23 or whatnot, and it's morning time, you're filling out your name badges, and we're at a trade show for beer. So we probably had a couple at that point, and we looked at each other and said, hey, let's do something cool with this. So I coined myself Red Dragon, and he was Jackson Axel. And literally the whole industry knew me as Red Dragon from then on out. So
But what a great lesson in marketing, right? Just you've got to be memorable. There's got to be a reason for people to remember you. So you've created this awesome home brewing company, Holler Ads, 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's no small accomplishment. Now we're moving into this next phase, this next evolution for you guys. So the rebrand, how recently is the rebrand?
I'd say we did kind of like a soft launch maybe about a month or so ago. And then it's kind of been like, we did a press release like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, it's just started to trickle out, and yeah, we've been really, really excited about it all. We're getting a lot of like good people say it makes us look bigger and obviously more professional, just cleans us up a lot. So that's been awesome.
For sure. And there's lots of mobile billboard companies, and there's people that throw signs on the side of trucks and call it such. There's people taking advantage of all sorts of space. But what is it that makes you guys unique and really a buttoned up turnkey solution?
100%. And I think this kind of like comes back to a little bit to our like roots and origin. So like when I was doing the homebrew thing, having a great time and it was good, but like just starting to look for new opportunities. I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years. So just kind of looking for the next thing. And I can remember it. I was driving back from Michigan from doing some manufacturing stuff, and we're on the highway and my partner is driving. I'm in the passenger seat. I can literally vivid memory of this, but like blank truck goes past, truck with an ad, blank truck, and my brain's just like, why is there so many blank trucks out there? So I kind of started doing some research on it and found like there's only a handful of companies in North America that do this kind of truck side advertising. So I kind of started digging in. Like then I found out like truck side was actually really big in the 80s. It was like utilized in like a big thing, and then it kind of petered out or whatnot, and it just kind of never became mainstream again. So like after starting to chat with some marketing ad people, then I figured out like a lot of it came down to analytics, measurement, accountability. So then I came up with this idea that's like our full tech stack platform we We have a beacon technology that goes on each truck. It's a GPS, so we know the location. But the cool thing we do is impression analytics through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth measurement. Most people leave their Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on in their phones. So this beacon that's riding around in the truck is just picking up all this available signal that's out there. So we can tell what devices have come in contact with the trucks at where and what time. So I embarked on this large journey to build out this tech. I'm not a technical guy myself. I'm certainly starting to understand it at this point, but
know your strengths.
I'm not reading code and I am not coding myself.
But let's talk it. Let's take a second and talk about that, right? Because oftentimes people will have an idea and it could be a great idea. Like you just said, truck side advertising was a thing. It was a good idea. Execution wasn't necessarily, maybe at the time it wasn't an issue, but to make it relevant now, it needed to be done differently. So how does a non-tech, beer guy start a tech company? What are those hurdles? Is it in these 6 inches of, all right, I'm gonna have to learn a new skill set? Talk to us about that. Talk to us about the mindset of getting past.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I knew that, like, I'm not, like, can get my emails done and that kind of stuff, but like, I'm not a super technical guy to begin with. So like, I knew kind of I wasn't going to be the guy building this. I've always like found like if you can't do something, or if it's not something that interests you, it's better to find somebody that does. Got super lucky, found kind of my first kind of co-founder tech guru. His name was Zach. We worked together for about a year and a half or so, and he was like the guy that kind of built this all out. Did the initial MVP, got these devices working, the back end, the front end display, and yeah, it was all really like it went good. Tons of hurdles, like, and it's just kind of like when you're building tech, it's an endless black hole for money.
Sure. So it's sort of like a Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak thing of we've got the visionary and then we've got somebody who can execute, finding the piece that complements you, it sounds like.
Literally, yeah. We both came together and worked very well. And like we finally got it kind of to the point where we started to partner with trucking companies. So we were building up our inventory. And I was actually, I exited my beer company. So I kind of went through that process. And then when I was going through that, like naturally the next big step for me is like we'd built the tech, we'd kind of procured some inventory, and now it was like go to market and go full steam. So kind of started doing that. And me and the original kind of tech guy, we just weren't kind of seeing eye to eye in terms of like how it was working. So like we decided to, cut it off early.
Sure.
And then I've kind of been like a sole founder since then. And I've found different teams that have came in and built the tech out. So we had a different team after Zach. And then since then we've got the current team. So I'm kind of 3 teams in on it. But yeah, our current, like it takes kind of figuring the technology out or what you're trying to build and then really finding the right people for that. So I've been very lucky where each different team has been great and progressed it. And we've learned a lot. And then when the kind of next team, then it kind of takes it to the whole next level. So we're actually in the process. We're launching a brand new V4 of everything. So we built brand new hardware, new operating system on the devices. All the data gets sent to this insanely robust backend system because you're processing thousands of scans a second are coming through all this data. And then it's got a display in real time so that the customers can see it. So yeah, there's a whole slew of, whole team of tech guys that are working on this hardware, operating system developers, back-end developers, front-end developers. It's, there's a lot going on. And we're blessed because like Canada's been, so this is a little, I'm in Toronto, but we certainly do this all over North America, but really blessed, like Toronto's, and I know there's some kind of research and development grants in the US too, but there's one up here that's called SHRED. It's an R&D tax credit. So for every dollar that we spend on R&D development, we get a 60 cents tax credit back at the end of the year.
It's amazing.
Pure cash. So like if you spend $100,000 in dev for the year, in January, you get a check for 60 grand of it back.
So you're developing for 40 cents on the dollar.
Pretty much. Yeah. So it's pretty, we've got really lucky in that sense.
No, it's great. So talk to me about who comes to you to help them. Is it brands that are running campaigns and they want them measured? Is it advertisers that say, hey, I want to do it this way? What's the core of your business?
I think it's a little, so it's like both. It's brands, it's agencies, it's kind of all the above for sure. So like it kind of starts in like the out of home space where like we're running the truck ads and delivering all the analytics. So like, yeah, I mean, we definitely get on campaigns, and because we have this data and people can see it and touch it, feel it, like log into the dashboard and physically go check their truck out where it was. So I feel like that's kind of the initial phase of it. But the thing that we're starting to see a lot now is like we partner this in with mobile device retargeting. So we collect all the data and then we start sending messages back out onto the phones. So I think for us, like as brands move towards like more of a CPA model, like that cost per acquisition, that like being able to tie the data all the way through an out of home spend to actual like online conversions is like where a lot of like, what our executions are moving towards. When we first started, there wasn't a whole lot of like the digital component that was getting added on. But at this point, 60, maybe even 70% of our executions have a digital add-on. So like I look at we did a campaign in Seattle for a company called Moodsy. They're an online interior design company. So you buy a house and you take a picture of your living room and then you upload it on their platform and you're like, oh yeah, I want to check out this couch and this chair and this. So they're 100% online based, no brick and mortar. And when they executed with us, it was their very first out of home campaign ever because it's like huge digital, all like CPA model online. So we did this campaign. It was 14 weeks with 10 trucks in Seattle, executed, delivered 58 million out of home impressions. Then we targeted 1.2 million impressions online. And that was done to their specific demo, which was females, I think 31 to 39. And then on top of that, we were trying to find them engage with them when they were maybe thinking about home improvement. So I know a lot of the retargeted ads went to like home and garden or like Martha Stewart at home apps, kind of like in that, not necessarily on a TSN, like an athletic, but more or less home sense.
So target audience in the moment where they're considering the thing that the advertiser does.
Bingo. The other cool thing that we've started doing, and this is kind of a phrase that I've started to coin a little bit, but is frequency threshold retargeting. So out of home is really powerful in the sense that like, it's not you see that billboard like once or twice and want to buy. It's you've seen it 5 times or 10 times or 15 times. Now it's relevant. It's top of mind. You want to act on it. So on this Moodsy campaign, we set the threshold to 10. So we only retargeted this select demo, 31 to 39 females, once they've seen the trucks 10 times or 15 times.
And did you have a time frame for that frequency? Was it 10 times in the next 10 days or was it 10 times over the course of a month?
So the campaign was set up over 14 weeks. And basically it takes a good and this again kind of comes back to like market size and how many trucks are out there. But on this campaign, it took about 6 weeks till we started to see the frequency building of like 10. So basically, once we'd hit that frequency threshold with that device, they would automatically go into that retargeting pool and that online portion would start on it.
Okay, so the frequency control was actually exposure to the truck. Once they'd seen the truck 10 times, then they would be qualified to get an online ad. I got to imagine that the results for that, right? Like just to recap, target audience is right. And we're going to make sure that they've been exposed to the truck multiple times. They've seen the ad before we start hitting them with ads online. What were the results like? Those are sound fundamentals.
We drove a 14% higher online conversion rate for them, which for them was huge because like the ROI per customer per sign up or whatever is massive. So yeah, it was
sure. And now you've got somebody who has a great first experience with out of home. They see it work in dollars and cents. A lot of folks listening to the show are in a business development or an account executive type role. How did you get in front of them to even get considered? You mentioned they hadn't done out of home before. How'd you get them to the dance?
Yeah, for sure. So I do a lot of like just kind of cold outreach, to be honest with you. We're like constantly trying to find kind of those scaling tech companies. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm still going after the big Fortune 500s and whatever. But like a lot of like, companies out of San Francisco, like paying attention to like emails like Crunchbase does like in daily, send out. And it's telling you about kind of like funding activity that's going on in the I'm like, there's a daily email that goes out. I'm sure a bunch of people are on it called The Hustle. Like, it's another one that kind of cool products hop up on, or like, and then I just kind of start my general reaching out, emails, LinkedIn. I'm also somebody that I always encourage to, I'm a little old school. I just get on the phone. I call
Imagine
people.
that. This thing still works.
No kidding.
No, I think it's great. And to hear it just simplified down into exactly that, because we can get caught up in all the minutia of, hey, here's this top secret, ninja prospecting thing that'll never require you to talk to somebody who isn't ready to buy ever again, because we want them to be easy. But the best relationships, in my experience, have been exactly that. Hey, I've got something that might be able to help you, or you're doing something interesting that I'd like to talk to you about. And would you like to talk about it? And if so, great, here it is. It sounds like you're growing the company based on that. You've got futuristic tech, but kind of an old school, time tested, proven approach to growing the business.
Yeah, I'm a little like real business orientated where, I think businesses are around to make money and be profitable. And, if you have to raise $100 million to make 10 million, well, I don't know if that, the numbers just don't work for me on that. So
I'm not a smart man, but yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. No, I think it's great that you're growing the company organically, and that's a great success story. What other things? What any big exciting campaigns going on right now as we get back to life as we knew it, or life as it shall be?
yeah, totally. We're excited. Like, I think like we're very fortunate and I'm extremely grateful to be kind of in this niche out of home space where we're at. I know like a lot of networks, like indoor stuff, like mall stuff or universities or like airports right now, like, some of that eyeballs and stuff of attention or have shifted. I was also chatting with somebody at Out Front that was talking about out of home dollars from below ground. So, like specifically in Manhattan, like below ground in transit, uh, becoming coming above ground because like nobody wants to go down in the transit anymore.
Sure.
Well, yeah, we've been like very lucky that like a lot of our trucks have stayed extremely busy. Like definitely some of the B2B stuff is tapered off or slowed down. But on the other side of it, like some of the trucks have increased that are on the residential side, which has been kind of a cool opportunity because like a lot of the eyeballs are just hanging out in neighborhoods or at home. Everybody's kind of seeing what's going on. Like you're looking out of your window a little bit more because you're so bored of Netflix or whatever.
I was doing it before. I was eating crackers, just looking out my front window.
There you go. So like, the delivery truck comes, like people are getting goods, like it's engaging in that sense. So yeah, we just wrapped up an awesome execution for Coke Industries. We were in live in Atlanta and DC with them. It was really interesting because we were like collecting seeing the data like throughout COVID. So like, it's like chugging around and then all of a sudden just huge drop off. And then like slowly kind of it petered out for maybe like 3 or 4 weeks. And then it kind of started to pick back up again. So you saw like the huge lull and then like kind of starting to open up. So, and now, yeah, we've got a bunch, looks like a big lottery campaign. We're starting to work with some of the big lotteries. So looks like there's some upcoming stuff there. And we're working on a telecom one as well. So yeah, there's lots in the go. I can't say it was slow, but then kind of we got our rebrand out to market. Now we're kind of back full fledged. So I'm excited. I think there's lots of opportunity coming up. So yeah, we're full throttle.
No, it's great, and it's good to hear that, and sharing those stories. I think keeps everyone motivated with the work that they're doing. So thanks for sharing that. The technology itself, is it something that can I license? Right, there's lots of folks that tune in that are in the mobile billboard business. Can I license your platform for my business? whether I'm a mobile billboard company or maybe I'm just a company with a fleet of vehicles that I would like to integrate into my marketing. Is that something that you guys do?
It's funny you say that, Tim. That is kind of the next phase of where we're going.
He didn't pay me to ask him that. I was just I was selfishly curious.
Yeah, we kind of like, it was funny. We kind of stumbled into this. Like we developed this tech for our own internal network, and now it's like everybody loves it. And yeah, we've got so yeah, we're starting to kind of do some of this licensing stuff where we'd help get devices out on vehicles and beacons set up, and then kind of provide a dashboard and all the analytics and retargeting. So yeah, that's definitely where we're headed right now. So
I think it's great because some of the, in my limited time at Adams, some of the best clients that I had the opportunity to work with were in those home service type industries, heating and cooling, that sort of thing. And they'd have great outdoor campaigns, and they've got 50 trucks on the road. And I was like, why can't we just activate those trucks in some sort of way that integrates into their outdoor campaign and make their stuff even better? So it's exciting to hear that you guys have that coming down the pipe, and that there's going to be opportunities. It sounds like maybe to partner, with some different players.
100%. I think out of home, I love it. But I feel like just like bringing more tech and data into it will just like strengthen and bring more dollars into out of home in general. So I'm a big proponent.
Yeah, we absolutely agree with that. A lot of times we talk about, let's make it easy to spend money in out of home, and also let's tell a really good story. And that's kind of been the blessing, I guess, if there's been one, of the social distancing that we've had to do is it's accelerated the conversation around data, around targeting. And as the world comes back, advertisers are going to be looking at how can I measure my spend with you, because I need to make sure that it's working. So do you see that as being a major component in the growth of out of home over the next 12 to 18 months? Or is there something that we're not paying attention to where you think we could focus some attention?
I do. I mean, I see it all the time. I think like out of home is like shifted a little bit. And like, I've been, just because I'm in Canada, but we've been chatting about like how out of home was a lot like recently. So originally out of home was like kind of an impression medium. It was
Right.
eyeballs up.
That's what we heard, right? Impression program. And
Totally. And then like, I guess like, this person, this was an interesting learning curve for me, but they kind of explained the history, impression median. And then like over the past, say like 5 to 10 years, it's kind of became more like strategic at home. So there's lots of like, you're doing like specific locations, and you got to buy this, you got to have this sign because it's a kilometer away from your location. You're getting them on ramp, or you're doing like huge takeovers in Times Square, like something like huge. Whereas now, under this kind of, pandemic situation, eyeballs have kind of shifted and traffic shifted. And kind of doing some of this strategic location stuff, it's still cool, but the impressions aren't there like they used to be.
That's a good point.
So this person was kind of, put in my head that they thought it was kind of out of home was going to go back to like more of like an impression-based median instead of how kind of, hyper targeted it had been over the last little bit, which I thought was kind of an interesting subject. Either way, I'm not sure. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did.
Yeah, you and me both. No kidding, right? No, it's like for myself, I kid that I'm the digital marketing, recovering digital marketer. But once I could see because that's how it always been sold to me, right? As an agency guy, we working with automotive dealerships. When we did have conversations with outdoor companies, it was impressions. But in that digital marketing world where it's target audience, conversion, we're actually, there's tangibility to it and we're being held accountable to it. That was my standard coming into out of home, right? If I can't measure it, well, then what are we doing talking about it, and why are we spending money on it? Let's focus on the things we can measure, which I've been humbled to learn, right? Out of home, 1 + 1 = 3, that there's more to it than just being targeted or just, focusing on one metric. How do you think that the technology, being able to target an audience, measurement, how do those things work with what has always made out of home so powerful, and it's that big, automatically authoritative type of display environment. How do you think that those two things work together going forward?
Yeah, I think like what you said. I think I mean, I love out of home, and I feel like anybody that's in out of home loves out of home because it is like it's so big, expansive, amazing to see.
Sure.
Like people get excited. It's the real world. But then you have this kind of disconnect where it's like such a big, amazing, powerful medium, but it's so hard to kind of do the analytics, understand like what it drives to the back end. Like, does it actually drive ROI? Are there people coming to store because of this? Are sales increasing? So I feel like, yeah, you need tech to like be able to, I mean, online advertising has been around for what, 30 years? It's scooped over 50% of all ad dollars. It's a $335 billion industry. Out of home is in the US, eight, maybe in North America, between 8 and 10 billion. So you look at like, just the spending dollars there, like it's a fraction. And online has done that because it's performance based.
Right.
People know exactly who they're targeting, exactly how many times they're getting in front of that. There's all these threshold gates on, well, I don't need to spend 50, impressions to this one person. We can cap it at 10 or whatnot. Out of home doesn't have that yet. So I feel like there's a lot of like catching up and room for improvement that will bring us back into this kind of more digital realm and have the dollars kind of all work together. So I think that there's tons of options.
How do you, and this could be a good takeaway too, is how do you have that conversation? Maybe going back to the example of the interior design company, how do you have that conversation around here's what out of home is, and here's how it's just like the other things that you're doing? How do you approach that?
I guess like I think, and I've had this conversation with other brands too, that like when you're, big enough and you're spending a lot, you kind of start to hit these like thresholds online where like it doesn't matter if you spend another like $1 million, you're not really increasing your conversion rates. Like, yeah, you're still getting conversions, but they're not like increasing. So it's like, how do
Right.
you look to like efficient ways to drive those conversion levels? And out of home is like one of the most affordable channels. Like CPMs are like on some of our stuff, even as low as like 80 cents and a dollar on truck side. And then like, when you start looking online at CPMs, like depending on how targeted and what you're trying to, if that audience, like you could be like $25-$30 a CPM.
Right.
So I feel like,
For an ad that is, this big on my screen.
and what's crazy to me is like you get that ad on your screen, and who knows if that brand is even relevant to that person yet. Have they ever seen that brand before? And I feel like that's the biggest thing that I've learned in or one of the biggest things is like there's got to be like some sort of reach frequency to actually instill like a point where they want to act or like, make a purchase on that brand. So like to spend $30 CPMs to get that message, that general awareness campaign in front of you 15 times, whereas you could just use out of home at a CPM of $2 or $3 compared to 20. Like it just seems like in such a natural way to build that kind of top of the line funnel, but then also related to that bottom of the line ROI.
I think that's why the work that you're doing is really important, because doing out of home before any of this is kind of like doing a trust fall, right? Like I know that my friends are going to catch me, but I'm still afraid of hitting the ground. I know that out of home works, but I'm also afraid of it not working. I'd rather pay $25 CPM because I can see someone clicked on it. Do you think that what do you think needs to happen in the conversation? Is there something that we could be doing better to inform or educate more brands, more marketing decision makers about that unique difference of out of home?
It's tough. Like in brand, like when you're dealing with a brand and you can get like the whole team together and chat about this kind of stuff is kind of the, as good as it gets. Because you've got that general marketing manager, maybe there's an out of home person, you get the digital team in the room. everybody's working together. I feel like it gets a little more tougher when you're in the agency world, because a lot of, there's a specific out of home team and that digital team, and a lot of times they're not very connected at all. And now you're kind of like pitching this digital portion onto an out of home plan. It's like, well, does that come out of home dollars, or does it become out of digital? So I feel like, to have better integrations between some of these teams is definitely going to help conversations from, people like us, because it's kind of symbiotic and working together. I really think, like, as an industry, just like talking about how out of home like really drives this online, activations, conversions. Like, there's a lot of, I'm always like looking for cool studies and stuff that are out there. I've definitely found some cool Nielsen ones and whatnot that like talk about kind of driving online. So any case studies and that kind of stuff, I think it's like good that we all share that, regardless if it's like bus ads or static billboards or truck ads, whatever it is. Like, say, hey, this out of home is driving these online conversions. This is what it's doing.
Sure. And I had the opportunity to work on a campaign at Adams. So while I was at Adams, I helped launch I guess we'll call it a product, but essentially it was the combination of billboards plus geofencing, right? Hey, someone that saw this billboard is going to get this ad, and then we can target based on, are they female, are they male, what's the age, and talk to that target audience, just like you were discussing earlier. And this was kind of the aha moment for me, was when we did this with a nonprofit who helps homeless men get back on their feet. And all they did was add some digital billboards, some geofencing to that, and pointed it all back to their website. Yeah, 2-3 weeks into it, I log into Google Analytics, and their GA was set up beautifully, and they had a great person on the board. It was all organized, which is nice. And we looked at conversion goals, and they were up 39% for website donations.
It's unreal.
Now, traditionally, nonprofits, right? It's $1 in, $5 back. A lot of direct mail, direct response type of mindset. They were just doing the billboards as like a nice to have. And here they are getting 39% more website donations. Called up the marketing director and said, did you guys do anything else different? Is there something I should know here? No, we just put up the billboards. Well, your website donations are up 39% by just turning on some digital billboards, a little bit of geofencing.
Love that.
There's stories like that. So for me, right, that sets the hook. And I said, I got to get more. And I could just, every single time, there's consistent proof in the pudding that this stuff really works. Considering, I hate to use the word fragmentation, but it's the right word. Out of home is fragmented. If I want to buy a Facebook ad, I go to Facebook, I buy a Facebook ad, and then I'm done. If I want to buy an out of home ad, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. You guys have the conversion and the dashboard and everything internally. What is it that advertisers or brands, agencies find most appealing about the measurement in your experience?
I think it's like, at the start, I would have thought it was like kind of like planning, pre-planning. So being able to say, hey, like, I know that this truck is spending this time in this neighborhood. We know it targets this. It's getting these certain amount of impressions. It's like, but I think like since we've got into this more, it's really about the accountability. That brand manager or, agency person that puts us on a plan and buys us knows that every week or any time they want, they can log on and get this hard data, this accountability right there. So I feel like it's like, I thought it was like going to be used for pre-planning, and it's almost like a way to say, hey, this is why we spent the dollars and this is where it went.
It's powerful. That's powerful. I think that's a key takeaway too, of kind of getting out of our own way and really understanding what is it that's most important to them, because maybe we have a different idea. And there's an easier path to success for everybody.
Like that, you always think something, then once you get going on it, you learn. And
isn't that funny? Funny how that works. So Casey, we've come to the point in the show where I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Questions from Carlos. Carlos Zavalli is the marketing manager for InMotion, another great mobile billboard company out in California. He said, Tim, can you start asking your guests a couple of questions, and if you're game, we'll have a little fun. In?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first question, if you were not doing what you're doing right now with Movia, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I'd be doing some sort of other entrepreneurial venture, something cool. I like doing like,
Something.
yeah, I'm a builder. I like kind of bringing stuff together, like bringing people together. I can't say like, there's I love what Elon Musk does. He's doing like rad, cool ideas. Either go bore a tunnel somewhere or fly around in space. Like, that'd be cool.
Cool. That would be cool. What are you most excited about right now? It could be work. It could be not work. It could be whatever you're most excited about. What is that?
I'm most excited about work right now. We're kind of, I'm not going to say we're super COVID proof, but we've kind of got out of this COVID proof, and like our network's looking good. I've kind of doubled down and just hired 2 sales guys to join us.
Congratulations, and congratulations to them.
Yeah, we're super excited to have Cody and Daryl joining us. So, yeah, we're just excited over the next like kind of 2 to 6 months to see what happens in and at home. And then, yeah, as our technology rolls out more, we're excited to kind of dive into the licensing side of it more. So, yeah, lots of cool opportunities, really.
Very cool. And are you a reader, a podcast guy? Where do you go for inspiration, motivation, or just unwind?
My guy. So I gotten into this guy. He has definitely changed my life over the last. I got into him in August. I had some friends suggest him, but his name is Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Love Dr. Joe.
Love that guy.
He's awesome.
I've drank a lot of Dr. Joe's Kool-Aid. I got his $100 program, and then I amped up and bought his $300 program. And
have you? Is the juice worth the squeeze? I've considered.
My life has went from, it's going well.
He's an amazing, anyone who's not familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, encourage you, go check this guy out. Right. He got hit by a truck in a triathlon and was supposed to be paralyzed or need back surgery. And he cured himself. He fixed his broken back by thinking about it.
It's insane though. He does all this, like he's a doctor in like neuroplasticity and like all this and quantum physics and all this stuff. And he brings like, it's like meditation and thought on like kind of your projections. It's like, I don't know. It's cleared my mind out a lot. It's
totally well here. And I'm going to point this out. I won't speak for any previous guests, but I can tell you that is a theme, whether or not it's talked about in the episode or it's before and after. That's something that every guest has had in common, is seeking a higher level of enlightenment. So it's not just about showing up and doing the work. It's about doing the self-work as well. I think that's a great recommendation. Dr. Joe.
I'm Dr. Joe. Every morning before I get going for the day, I wake up maybe 7:30. I'm 45 minutes to almost an hour of meditation a day. Dr.
It's amazing. Joe. It's amazing. I do what I call my power hour. And I actually got it from a coach that was on Tom Bilyeu's show, Impact Theory. Every day, 20 minutes of intense, sweaty exercise. Oftentimes I do it outside, so it's hot, hoodie, kettlebells, just getting it. 20 minutes of intense, sweaty exercise, 20 minutes of meditation immediately following, shifting that fight or flight nervous system, and then 20 minutes of self-development, which for right now has been Principles by Ray Dalio, which is a master's class on business and life. So that's great, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Everybody should check Dr. Joe out. He's cool.
Definitely check Dr. Joe out. To check you out, Casey, where should people go? Where are you most active? How do they find you? How do they learn more?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm on LinkedIn a bit, but like if anybody wants to connect, email is like typically the best. I'm I'll be on LinkedIn and stuff, so please add me. Shoot me a message for sure. It's just Casey Binkley. Movia, and then my email is Casey, so CASEY at Movia, MOVIA.media. And Movia is moving media combined into one word.
Smashed up. The child. Love it.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link out to all that stuff in the show notes and the description. Casey, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate you.
Tim, and to everybody that's out there listening, thanks so much. Hope everybody kills it and in a good way and makes it happen coming up here. So Hope to connect, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. And don't forget to click subscribe down below there in the corner. If you want to get swagged up, go to oohswag.com. Don't forget to use promo code INSIDER for 10% off your first purchase. And we'll see you guys next time.